Tonight, relief for Port Pirie as Nyrstar pay back a portion of its taxpayer-funded guarantee, and Rowan Ramsey and Mark Colton to play big roles in the re-elected Morrison government.
With the latest from around the region, your nightly news with John Hunt begins now.
Good evening, thanks for your company. Nyrstar has started paying back some of the $291 million it owes to the state government. $43 million was paid back late yesterday, as the company's biggest shareholder met the Treasurer.
Progress in Nyrstar's debt dilemma. The owner of Port Pirie's lead smelter, the town's biggest employer, has officially made a payment of $43 million back to South Australia.
I think it's certainly a sign of good faith, and it's a good indication. The fact that this $43 million payment was made on schedule yesterday.
Jeremy Weir, the CEO of Nyrstar's largest shareholder Trafigura, visited Adelaide yesterday, meeting with both the Premier and Treasurer. The company has entered into a conditional restructuring arrangement that may lead to it becoming the majority owner. Mr. Lucas says that Trafigura's visit is a step in the right direction and a positive indicator that Nyrstar is committed to paying off its international debt.
We are making good progress, and we remain hopeful that in the not too distant future we might be able to successfully conclude those renegotiations.
Independent member for Frome, Jeff Brock, says he's pleased to see signs of a better working relationship between the company and all levels of government.
Good that we see the CEO of Trafigura, Jeremy Weir, come to Port Pirie to actually talk to everybody here, to the senior management, and have a first-hand look at the operation.
Dominic Beaton, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Re-elected member for Parkes Mark Colton has been given a ministerial role in the new federal cabinet. Mr. Colton says it's a job he's honoured to have been asked to serve in.
The new Minister for Regional Services, Decentralisation and Local Government.
Regional services, telecommunications and health, Black Spot program, NBN rollout, all of those areas.
After winning his seat of Parkes for the 5th time, Mr. Colton now has a full ministerial role in Scott Morrison's cabinet. He will also remain as Assistant Trade and Investment Minister.
There's quite a few programs where the federal government is directly involved with local government. I'll be catching up with representatives from their organisations fairly quickly.
Mr. Colton says decentralisation is a significant part of revitalising regional economies. The portfolio focuses on creating more opportunities in regional areas, encouraging businesses and people to swap the city for the bush.
I think moving to a larger regional centre like Broken Hill will make sense. It's just a matter of explaining that to people and putting in a program to make that happen.
Mr. Colton says the new role will carry more responsibilities and mean spending more time in Canberra, but he says keeping in touch with his electorate is still his #1 priority.
It takes management, but it's doable, and I'm quite prepared to do that.
Patrick Ryankey, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
It was also good news for the region's other MP in the reshuffle. Member for Grey Rowan Ramsey has retained his position as a whip after the Prime Minister requested he continue in the role.
Scott Morrison has been busy reshuffling his cabinet. However, Rowan Ramsey will keep hold of an important role in Canberra.
I'm very pleased to have received a call from Scott Morrison and asked me to continue in the position of Government Whip. There are 3 Liberal Party whips.
The strong election win also means that Mr. Ramsey will be working with a majority government. His role includes duties such as counting votes, organising rosters and duties for government members, and sitting in selected committees where members' private bills and motions are selected for debate.
This is something I actually find is good for me, and probably good for the electorate too, because I think it puts me a bit closer to the mechanisms of Parliament.
Upper Spencer Gulf Common Purpose Group Chair Leon Stevens says he's pleased to see an elected member of Grey hold an important position in Parliament.
He's a steely-eyed gunfighter, the old bloke, isn't he? So I'm pretty happy that he's back in. He's had his ear to the ground. He's got one of the biggest electorates in Australia.
Mr. Ramsey says that the government is hoping to get back to work as quick as possible, with Parliament expected to resume in the first week of July. Dominic Beaton, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
With the tourist season in full swing, police in the far north are urging drivers to be prepared for unforgiving outback roads. Authorities say the Oodnadatta and Birdsville tracks can be hard on tyres and breakdowns are common, sometimes leaving drivers stranded for hours. Police say travellers should take precautions before hitting the road by ensuring they have a backup mobile phone service, a breakdown plan and plenty of food and fluids. The RAA are calling on the government to urgently upgrade the Eyre Peninsula's road network following this week's closure of the railway. It comes after Viterra's announcement it's transitioning into a road-based supply chain.
With the Eyre Peninsula's century-old railway closing this week, there are renewed calls for the region's roads to receive immediate upgrades. The RAA is driving the campaign to fix the roads before an additional 30,000 trucks hit the road.
We want to see the money spent on the roads across the Eyre Peninsula as soon as possible. The priorities for us are the Todd and the Lincoln Highway.
The state and federal governments have already pledged $32 million for upgrades after warnings the increased number of trucks would cause issues.
Subsequently, everything will now be moved by road, so this is obviously going to place an immediate pressure on the existing road network, hence the need for any works to upgrade this to commence as soon as possible.
But months after the announcement, there's still no set date for when construction will start or what the upgrades will actually look like. The local member says planning is still continuing.
It's a matter of identifying where the pressure points will be, given that there will be extra road traffic. Of course, people are talking a lot about intersections, about passing lanes, about rest stops.
The state government will announce in the June budget what funds will be made available for our roads. Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Still to come tonight, road safety on the agenda in Port Lincoln and a decision to be made on the redevelopment of Broken Hill's Jubilee Oval. Welcome back. South Australian Police have held their first heavy vehicle and road safety forum in Port Lincoln. It's a new push by authorities aimed at tackling the rising fatalities on South Australia's roads.
It's a growing issue facing South Australia, with 40 road fatalities this year, a 60% increase from last year.
There are a higher number of fatal collisions on country roads, and what we want is not to see any more.
Police holding a public forum in Port Lincoln addressing road safety in the region. It comes a week after a serious crash near Whyalla and a fatal crash at Tumby Bay in the space of 24 hours. And with Viterra moving its grain transport onto the roads, police say getting the message through has never been more important.
We're looking to educate all road users about how to safely negotiate driving on our roads with heavy vehicles.
Police also streaming last night's meeting on Facebook. Superintendent Barr says it was an important step in reaching younger drivers.
Educating young people, even those who are not yet driving, so that we're instilling in them the right driver behaviour for when they do get behind the wheel.
The fact that it wasn't just all about the trucks, it was about how we could just our roads in general and safety and fatigue. And it would be great to have the younger ones more involved to know the facts.
Police have also commenced Operation Air Safe, with extra patrols being deployed on our highways. Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
The Whyalla City Council is welcoming the completion of the Tree of Remembrance at the local cemetery in commemoration of people whose ashes have been spread elsewhere. The wall features individual bronze butterfly-shaped plaques that'll include the name of the person who passed away and their dates of birth and death. Council says it's a special opportunity for community members who've lost a loved one. Those who wish to have a plaque placed on the tree for a family member can contact Whyalla Council. CU River Mining has officially been handed the environmental responsibilities for Port Augusta's old power station site, with Flinders Power today officially transferring the licence. An extra condition has been added to the agreement, which forced CU to provide $2.4 million to the EPA for financial assurance in the event it can't meet environmental requirements.
A good outcome for the people of Port Augusta. To know that there is certainty in terms of ensuring that the rehabilitation of the site will occur.
The EPA says it will continue to monitor vegetation efforts on the site over the coming months. Recfish SA has raised concerns for regional anglers after the state government scrapped its funding. The state's peak recreational fishing body fears locals will no longer have a voice.
Up the Gulf without a paddle. Recfish SA's time as the government's advisory body will cease on June 30.
The government no longer recognises us as the peak body for recreational fishing in South Australia and is going to stop funding us.
Previously, the government provided over $100,000 to the group in support of its role. However, that will be redirected to a new fishing advisory council set up by Minister Tim Whetstone. Recfish Executive Director Denny Simpson fears the new council will miss many regional fishing issues.
Those two country-based representatives are located in Renmark and Wallaroo. So you can see there's a large area of the state which isn't covered.
Local anglers echoing the sentiment for strong fisheries management in the regions.
It is super important that we do the hard work now so that we gain the benefits in the future.
Recfish wants the decision reversed, but the government won't be taking the bait. Acting Primary Industry Minister David Ridgway says the new council will provide thorough advice on issues across the state and country areas won't be left high and dry.
Fulfilling our commitment to the South Australian people that we took to the election, and we think it's the best way forward for the recreational fishing sector.
Garth Burley, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
The upgrade of Broken Hill's Jubilee Oval could move a step forward this week. Council will vote on whether to approve its development application, one of many big items on the agenda.
A multi-million-dollar development set to get the tick of approval.
They've played a number of sports there. It's an asset to the community.
Tomorrow night, local councillors will vote on approving the DA for the Jube upgrade. Mr Kennedy says it's a no-brainer.
What will be discussed is the $28,000 contribution. I'll be pushing for that to be actually given back to the Jubilee Oval.
Also up for discussion, a plan to further expand the CBD's dry zone. Under the plan, the existing area would be reapproved for another 4 years, but also widened to incorporate more hotspots.
For the safety of community and all that sort of stuff, you want that implemented because you don't want people to take advantage of it.
The operating hours for the Visitor Information Centre will be reviewed, but they're likely to stay the same, and Council will approve the recipients of the recent round of community assistance grants. In total, $51,000 will be given to 15 organisations.
Really, it's for smaller organisations to make sure that they get what they might not be able to afford if they didn't have it.
Patrick Ryanke, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Stay with us, we'll catch up with the weekend soccer and netball scores, and Louise will have the weather details. Hello again. It was another big weekend of sports as the region's soccer and netball leagues moved towards the halfway point of the season. Shari Hams has the weekend wrap.
It was a bumper weekend of sport across the regions. In Whyalla Soccer, Westlands defeated undermanned Wanderers 4-2. In tough conditions, Westland were too strong for the Blues, with the win taking them to the top of the league. In the other match, reigning champions Lions scored their first win in the league, defeating Steel United 4-3 in a 7-goal thriller. In Port Pirie, Northern Demons drew 1 each with Eastern United in the State League, while in Amateur League, Savoy remained second in Sunday Division 2 after a win over Rao Park. And in Port Lincoln, Secole and South Coast had wins. Now looking at the netball, we'll start in Whyalla. Kiwi Netball defeating YCW Netball 49-35. True Blue defeated bitter rivals Warriors by 2 goals in a tight match, and Ravens easily accounted for Rapina defeating the Roos by 36 goals. Over in Port Pirie, Central Riston defeated Port by 5 goals in a tight match. CM Celtic also scored a win, defeating Solomon Town by 6 goals. In Port Augusta, St Joseph's defeated Railways by 3 goals, while Vikings were too strong for the Magpies, winning by 14 goals. Down in Port Lincoln, Boston's won by 9 goals over South United. Imperial thumped St Mary's 55-20, and Waybacks defeated Wanilla 47-28. In the northern areas, Broughton Mundura thrashed BMW 61-46. Southern Flinders were also winners, defeating Jamestown by 10, and Orroroo defeated Crystal Brook. Finally, in Broken Hill, St Joe's Jesters defeating West Flames Red by 14 goals. And that's all for sport from across the regions. Footy Tips will be back on Friday, and we'll be back on Monday and Tuesday with all the results.
Thanks, Shari. It was cold and wet in our region today. Here's Louise with a look at the weather.
Good evening. Cold and showery conditions have dominated our weather today, but it should clear up soon. Temperatures range throughout the mid-teens today, with Port Augusta and Whyalla reaching a top of 18 degrees, rain and 17 in Port Lincoln. It was partly cloudy and 17 in Broken Hill. It was rainy and 16 degrees in Adelaide. On the satellite now, patchy cloud over the south of South Australia is causing unstable cold winds and a few showers. Skies otherwise clear in the north thanks to a high, which is also causing chilly mornings. Windy once again tomorrow out on the waters, southwest winds between 20 to 30 knots, seas at 3 metres, and the sun will rise at 7:13 tomorrow morning with sunset at 5:20. Cold, showery and windy again tomorrow. Port Augusta just 15 degrees. Whyalla and Port Lincoln also 15. Windy conditions too in Coffin Bay reaching 14 degrees. Woodton at 15. Corn just 13 degrees. Broken Hill partly cloudy and 15. Port Pirie down to 13 too. Clare barely hitting double figures. Cleve 13. Kadina showers and 14. And Adelaide rain and 14 degrees. Looking ahead to the next 4 days now, it should be cloudy in Port Lincoln on Thursday and 15 and cloudy and 17 Friday before clearing on Saturday. Clearing up in Cleve by Friday, 14 on Wednesday, 15 Thursday and 16 on Friday. And Woodnett will be similar, 16 Thursday, 17 and partly cloudy on Friday and on Saturday. Whyalla will be 15 degrees and partly cloudy before reaching 16 Friday and Saturday. It's looking like similar conditions in Port Augusta, reaching 18 degrees by Saturday, and Kadina will be clear by the weekend, 16 and partly cloudy on Saturday. Port Pirie 15 and cloudy on Thursday, 17 and Friday and Saturday. Clare will be feeling the chill, 12 degrees on Thursday, 13 Friday and 14 on Saturday. Broken Hill will remain dry, but it will be cool there, 13 on Thursday, 14 Friday and 15 on Saturday. So the rain is looking like it will clear by the end of the week, but it will still be cold over the weekend. John, it is the type of weather that calls for a wee dram. Back to you.
I couldn't agree more with you, Louise. Perfect conditions for a dram. Thanks for that. And that's your local news this Tuesday evening. Thanks for joining us. I'll have some updates later in the evening, but until then, enjoy your evening's viewing here on 7. On behalf of the team, it's good night.